Before we start, here's a fun fact about the Taurus. Taurus weighs almost like a small car. The average adult cow weighs a little less than a small car, above 680 kilograms. Another fun fact is cow is second largest type of livestock in the world by number, numbering over 1.4 billion. There's roughly one cow for every 7 humans on Earth. This makes cow and cattle the second most abundant farm animal in the world. Last but not least, about the Taurus, a cow can produce over 7 gallons of milk per day. So a cow gives birth, farmers let nurse the baby cow with the special milk called colostrum for the 1 or 2 months it is produced. After that, the cow will then spend roughly 10 months producing around 7 gallons of regular milk every day.
Let's begin with an overview of cattle and their significance. First and foremost, most indigenous, the ARMANs are the ancestors of domestic cattle. Moving forward in time, the number of cows worldwide has now surpassed 1.4 billion after 10,500 years of domestication. Additionally, there are two main subspecies, zebu cattle, known as Bos indicus, and Taurus cattle, referred to as Bos taurus. Finally, over 1,000 different breeds of cattle exist today, all resulting from centuries of domestication and selective breeding. Now, let's shift our focus to the dairy industry. Notably, India stands as the world's largest purchaser of milk with an impressive annual growth rate of 5.8%. To put this into perspective, India produces a staggering 209 million tons of milk annually. Interestingly, 55% of the cattle in India are crossbreds between native Bos indicus and Bos taurus dairy breeds. On a smaller scale, the average herd size in India consists of just 2 cows with an average yield of 7.22 kg of milk per day. Next, let's examine the evolutionary relationships among cattle species. Starting with the ancestor, we have Bos primigenus, the aurochs. Another notable species, the outgrowth of the cladogram, is bison, the American bison. From there, we move to Bos indicus Brahman, a prominent zebu breed. On the other hand, Bos taurus includes several known breeds, such as the Holstein, Angus, and Jersey. Now, let's delve into the scientific classification of cattle. The kingdom of this species is Animalia, phylum Chordata, class Mammalia, order Artiodactyla, family Bovidae, genus Bos, and lastly, species Bos taurus. Turning our attention to where cattle are found today, Bos taurus, the domestic cow, is now found all over the world. However, their wild ancestors originated in northern Africa, Europe, and southern Asia. The preferred environments for this species, domestic cows thrive in diverse environments, particularly on rangelands. These rangelands are unique because they are not fertilized, cultivated, or irrigated. Specifically, cattle inhabit terrestrial biomes such as grasslands, savannas, scrub forests, chaparral, and even semi-arid dunes. The domestic habitat for the species, in agricultural settings, cattle require extensive grazing land. They are often managed in pastures or rotating grazing systems to optimize their health and productivity. Now, let's examine some key trends in cattle populations over time. According to the FAO 2024, census data has been collected in intervals spanning from 2000 to 2021. This by Indian records such as 2000 to 2003, 2003 to 2006, and so on highlight consistent monitoring of global cattle demographics. Tracking these trends helps us understand population growth, regional shifts, and the impact of agricultural practices over 2 decades.
I'm going to briefly describe the characteristics of female Bos taurus cow, a species commonly raised for milk and meat production, especially in temperate regions. Let's begin with their physical appearance. Female Bos taurus cow are generally large bodies and muscular, especially in beef breeds like Angus and Hereford. Dairy breeds like Holstein tend to have a leather build. They have thick skin, no hump on their shoulder, and their horns are either short or completely absent in pollen breed. Their coat color varies greatly from solid black to spot or patch pattern. In terms of meat production, Bos taurus cows are top performers. Dairy breeds such as Holstein can produce between 20 to 30 liters of milk per day. However, the meat has lower fat content, around 3.5 to 4%, which makes it suitable for fresh consumption and large-scale dairy industries. Now, let's look at their adaptation. Bos taurus cows are best suited for cooler climates and intensive farming system. They are less tolerant to heat and prone to tropical disease like tick fever. Therefore, they often need climate control shelter and regular veterinary care in hot regions. Finally, their reproductive traits. These cows are highly fertilized when given proper nutrients and care. However, due to their larger calf, they may experience breathing difficulty requiring assistance during calving. In summary, female Bos Taurus cows are ideal for high-yield dairy and beef production in well-managed cooler environments. They develop excellent performance but need more care, especially in warmer climates. Thank you.
So I'm going to explain about the life cycle of Bos Taurus, which is the growth stages of domestic cattle. So basically, it consists of 5 main stages. The first one is gestation, the pregnancy one, and calf stage around 6 months, the juvenile stage, adult stage, and reproduction stage. So the first stage is gestation stage. What is gestation? Gestation is the stage in the pregnancy period in cows. It begins after fertilization and ends at the calving, the birth of the calf. During this time, the fetus grows from a tiny embryo into a fully developed calf. Farmer must provide good nutrition and care throughout this period to ensure a healthy pregnancy and successful calving. Why it matters? Because the proper nutrition and care during gestation ensure a healthy calf birth, good milk production, reduce complications. Next is the calf stage. In the first and most sensitive stage of cow's life, right after birth, the calf depends on its mother, especially for colostrum, which protects it from disease. This stage is all about growth and development. A healthy calf grows into productive cow. The juvenile stage. The juvenile stage starts once the calf is weaned, which they are no longer drinking their mother's milk. During this period, the animals grows quickly, learn social behavior, develop into mature cow or bull. They are no longer dependent on milk, but they still need a good nutrition and care to prepare for adulthood. Mistakes in this stage can affect their future productivity. The another stage is the adult stage. It's when the cow reaches full maturity, usually around 18 to 24 months. At this stage, female cows can reproduce and produce milk, while bulls or male cows can be used for breeding. This is the most productive phase of a cow's life, and proper care during this stage ensures high performance and a longer lifespan. So next is reproduction. In this stage, the biological process by which cows reproduce offspring. Reproduction is the cows is key for sustaining the herd and producing milk and meat. The cow has a 21-day cycle, and when she's in heat, she can be made naturally or through artificial insemination. After successful fertilization, the cow will carry the calf for around 9.5 months and then give birth. Without reproduction, there would be no new calves and no milk production. For the method of reproduction, natural mating, a bull mates with a cow during her heat period. For artificial insemination, AI, common on farms, semen is collected from a bull and inserted into the cow without natural mating. So this reproduction is important to ensure calf production, which is the new generation of cattle. The last stage is lifespan. So the average lifespan of cow is around 15 to 20 years. However, most farms, depending on their use, for dairy cows around 5 to 7 years due to milk production stress. For beef cattle is around half to 3 years before slaughter. Breeding cows around 8 to 12 years used for multiple calving. Cows are incredibly useful. They give us milk, meat, leather, and even help with farming in some countries. So, after learning about the life cycle, Bos Taurus have 5 life stages, from gestation to adult reproduction. The life cycle repeats through reproduction.
I have to mention that this species has a lot more environmental insignificance as compared to significance. So let's discuss it. So first up is emission of greenhouse gases. So the contents of greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, nitrous dioxide, methane, and others. Coincidentally, methane gas is a product of manure degradation and microbial fermentation in the rumen of cows. So this can be a concern to the environment as the emission of greenhouse gases can lead to global warming. However, with scientific and technological advances, modification can be made to the cow's diet to lower the methane gas emission and overall greenhouse gases emission. Next is soil degradation. So the overgrazing done by dairy animals can cause soil degradation. Overgrazing refers to the amount of time that the livestock are allowed to graze. So it can impact the soil's health due to a number of reasons, like loss of soil's nutrient and fertility can lower organic matter levels. Other than that, the reduced soil pore spaces can aggregate soil structure. Lastly, the environmental insignificance is water pollution. The feces runoff from the cows can degrade water quality. It can cause eutrophication or algal bloom in the nearby lake or pond, which can disrupt the ecosystem and aquatic life nearby. Now let's discuss the economic significance of this species. There's none other than dairy products that we associate with this species. So definitely cow is an important animal to the dairy industry as its milk can be made into products like cheese and yogurt. The availability of land and cattle farm enables locals to come up with their own dairy products. Some of the local dairy brands that we're familiar with are Farm Fresh and Dutch Lady. Next up is agricultural employment. With the existence of cattle farms, like I've mentioned before, this boosts opportunities for agriculture graduates to be employed. They can become an agronomist, farm manager, and even agricultural consultant. It is good for these farms to hire experts so that their farm can improve to benefit both the environment and economy. Not only that, this can also increases the employment rate in our country. Lastly is beef production. Cow is a very significant animal to the beef industry. This is because majority of the people in the world have beef as their diet, or their diet consists of beef. Cow is also important to the food and beverage industry as majority of restaurant chains have beef in their menu. So one of the type of beef that is very popular in the market right now are Wagyu beef. So Wagyu beef comes from cow that is fed with special diet and also taken care of with great hospitality, which ensure that their fat disperses evenly. So that is why Wagyu beef has those marbles on them. This enables the meat to become very tender, juicy, and fatty, which makes it popular among beef consumers.
For the conclusion, both Taurus, the domesticated cattle species, and plays a multiple roles in agriculture, providing essential resources such as milk, meat, leather, and labor. It is characterized by its adaptability, docile nature, and selective breeding, which have enabled the development of various specialized breeds suited for dairy, beef, or other purposes. The species contributes significantly to the global economy and food security. Moreover, ongoing genetic improvement and sustainable management practices are essential to ensure the health, productivity, and welfare of both Taurus in the face of environmental and economic change.